Hey there, everybody. This is Carrie Hamblen, the CEO and president of the Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce, coming to you again with another one of our Zoom chats that are benefits for our members of the Las Cruces Green Chamber of Commerce. And here I have Robert Palacios, who is the executive director of the Mariachi Conference, the International Mariachi Conference de Las Cruces. Roberto, it's so lovely to see you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. We were talking a little bit. It's go time, It's gonna be here before we know it.
Absolutely. So we're talking about the 30th anniversary of the International Mariachi Conference, which is going to be taking place November 8th through 11th at the Las Cruces Convention Center. And oh my gosh, happy birthday, 30 years. That's a big deal. You're like a grown up.
I know, 3 decades. Who would have thought? When I first started, we hit our 25th anniversary, and now it seems like it's a few days later and it's the 30th. So time flies.
Well, let me ask you this. When you were a young Roberto, or Robert, were you participating in the conference before you became actively involved in it?
Absolutely. In 2002 was my first conference. I
Oh.
was in middle school at Vista Middle School, helped start their mariachi program there. And it changed everything for me, from becoming a better student to being more involved in what I was doing in the community. Because it was after I started the group in with the school and middle school group, I also joined a community youth group. So there was a lot of gigging per se, and being out in the community in front of all different sizes of audiences. So it's something that's very special to me.
Well, and it's really interesting because, we always talk about like other than just the education part of school, but having like activities that really keep students engaged in the learning process. And, I don't know. I mean, I think besides here in Tucson, maybe that, and maybe a little bit in Texas, I don't know how many schools actually have like just the richness that is the mariachi, as part of their curriculum or part of their after school activities. And so it's brilliant to do that.
Yeah, and surprisingly, the spread is wide and far. I mean, there's programs in places in the US that you wouldn't even imagine had programs. So
Oh.
there's always the places that come to mind for me, like Las Vegas, Nevada, San Antonio, Texas, different parts of Texas, Tucson, Phoenix, Arizona, Los Angeles. But
Mhm.
then there's places that would surprise you that actually have mariachi programs, and uh, even mariachis in Japan.
Really? Oh, I would love to see photos and a performance of that. How amazing.
Yeah,
Way
yeah.
to go. Well, I mean, you've been part of it, since you were younger, but really part of it, since 2000, you said, 5 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, how have you seen it change? I mean, even reflecting back to when you were doing it as a kid, how have you seen the conference grow?
Um, this conference has had definitely its ups and downs, but at its heyday, I mean, you're looking at close to 1,000 students. You were looking at events across the community, concerts at the Pan American, and really, when I took over, we were building that momentum back up. And then, of course, COVID happened, and coming out of COVID has been another rebirth of the conference. But just from last year to this year, the momentum and the amount of support and the communities that want to come to Las Cruces and join us, not only to see the concerts but to participate in the workshops, it's just tenfold. It keeps growing every year, and that's our goal. But at the same time, when people come to Las Cruces for our conference, they have a sense of community. They feel like they're at home. They feel like they're a part of this. Not just, I mean, you've been to large conferences for your career, and a lot of times there's different workshops and you're going to different events, and you essentially you are a number. But when you come to Las Cruces to our mariachi conference, you feel that sense of community and that you're a part of the event.
I think that's one of the things that's really special about Las Cruces, period, is that, it's like we welcome folks, into our community and really want to share everything that is part of our rich culture from either our public lands and, just the food and the
Oh
music.
yeah.
And so, well, and you talk about like, after COVID, really trying to rebuild a lot of things. And I think for many nonprofits, the pandemic kind of allowed nonprofits a chance to reset and kind of think about what they're doing and how they can like change it and maximize it. And part of that is really getting more youth as part of the student showcase. And you're working really hard to rebuild that community youth and mariachi and folklorico program. We talked a little bit about it because how it impacted you, but how do you see the youth component of the mariachi conference really impacting all of our kids and just really rounding out the conference, because it's ridiculous not to include our young folks as part of that.
Definitely. I mean, you have preservation of culture. These programs help preserve and promote the Mexican American culture, including mariachi music and folkloric dance. And it provides a platform for the young people to connect with their cultural heritage and traditions. And then you have the education. So we have youth mariachi programs, folklorico programs that offer valuable educational opportunities. They teach students about music and dance and the history and significance of the art form. So it's an all-around thing: community engagement, cultural exchange, economic impact. So we're looking at the mariachi conference as a whole, but when you really start pinpointing what it does for our community and for the youth, I mean, there's multiple layers to it.
Oh yeah. I know that you've got a lot on your plate. It'd be really interesting to see how much that brings into the community, because I'm pretty sure that you've got some amazing, highlights to be able to share.
Yeah.
But it's also having the time because you're busy trying to organize it and run around and do all of that. And one of the things I think is part of the staple of the mariachi conference, and I remember the first time I heard about this, back in the 90s, and mariachi cobre, always just like a mainstay and a draw. And I remember meeting the all-female mariachi group, Mariachi Los Angeles de Reina, or Reina de Los Angeles.
Yep.
And seeing them, oh my gosh. And then I saw them at another conference, at a public radio conference, and told them, you were in my city. And they just spoke so positively about the experience. What are some of the other acts that you can expect, that people who want to go, and not just folks, like white folks like me who appreciate the music and the part of the culture, what are some of those draws about this coming conference?
So speaking a little bit of past conferences, I've had the unique opportunity of meeting with individuals in our community and them saying, just within the past few years, you brought Steven Sandoval. That guy was amazing. Bring him again. You brought, we brought a little girl from Tucson. They were calling her Little Selena, and she sang at last year's conference. And it's not only bringing in the tried and true, but also fostering that next generation. And so we're holding true to being a mariachi conference this year. We named Juan Carlos Gaitan. He usually does our ballet folklorico workshops. He's the artistic director of this year's show. Mariachi Cobre will be there. Friday night, we're having the student showcase and Best in Show. This is a huge opportunity for these students. Best in Show will open our spectacular concert, but only right after all the participants. We've moved everything to the Las Cruces Convention Center. So the audience is going to be ready for the show. The participants are going to flood the audience for the opening number.
Oh, that's just gave me chills. Oh,
yes, just a true celebration of culture. Mariachi Cobre, and we are bringing in, we just announced Mariachi Nuevo Tecalitlan, who has not been in our region in over a decade. So we are extremely excited to have them.
Wow, kudos to you for that. That's a big deal.
Yes.
That's pretty fantastic. And, and it's also, the conference, you've been able to nurture all these different relationships and really develop that this is something that is kind of a flagship event, not just for your organization, but for the area. And
Yes.
I think that's absolutely fantastic. And so as you're planning, I mean, as we're finishing up here, as you're planning, I know that it's hard to ask like a parent, like, who's your favorite kid, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like, what are the things that you think are just going to be blowing people away during this conference?
One, I think, is our relocation. We spent the better part of the lifespan of this conference at Corbett Center at the NMSU campus, and we will always be grateful to the partnership with New Mexico State University. But being at a new venue, the Las Cruces Convention Center, it was, before its recent expansion, it was just a little bit too small to have our conference. If you think there's beginner, intermediate, advanced folklorico classes, then you have violin, trumpet, guitarrón, and then armonía, which is vihuela and guitar and voice. And each of those have those 3 levels of workshops. So it's a lot of space that we need. We're going to be pushing 500 participants this year. And so with that expansion of the convention center, we're able to just fill that space. And I invite the community to come walk around. We're going to have vendors all week. Just come immerse yourself in the music. The students have jam sessions. Like I said, Friday night is the student showcase. And this is the first time since I've taken over that we're able to have a large student showcase and to have a large venue for the community to come watch. It's going to be a free event Friday night. So we really want Las Cruces to show up and support what we have going on.
That's fantastic. I mean, there is a registration fee, but you know, but if you've got that free event the first night to really introduce people to it, I think that's really brilliant. Obviously you have to pay your costs, so the registration fee is necessary, but it's for what you're getting, looking at the registration page, for what you're getting with all of the different workshops and the performances, you know, even at the lowest level, people are still getting a bargain, because imagine the concerts.
Yeah.
That's
And
fantastic.
that's different about Las Cruces too. We don't charge for our students to be there. The students are a part of the show, the spectacular concert, and they will always have a place to enjoy that show as part of being in the conference.
Well, yeah, and you can see the different schedules of looking at the event. You'll also be able to contact Robert and we'll put all that contact information. We'll have the registration information, all the details, either above or below, all depending on what platform you're looking at this. But I am so excited for you. I think this is going to be amazing. And congratulations on 30 years, Robert.
Thank you so much. And we are calling for volunteers. We need not only the community to be there to support the students and see the shows, but it's a full week, Wednesday through Saturday. We need volunteers in our community to go help with the event. And if you have any questions, if it's not on our website, give us a call, shoot us an email. We're very responsive, and we just want to make this the biggest, best year, because truly the goal is to keep growing our programs, our youth programs in our community, because they're dying. And there's a lot of people in our community that care about it. There's a lot of organizations that call, they want mariachis. They want youth mariachis, but the programs are far and few. So we have to, the goal of our annual conference is to raise funds to reignite and rebuild programs within our community.
Well, whatever we can do to help, because I think it's incredible. It's an important part of our community. And so I wish you the best of luck. I'm so glad you're doing it, because as we talked before we even started recording, organizing a conference is a lot of work. But when you see all the people who are benefiting from it and just the enjoyment that people get, it's worth every second of it. So
Absolutely.
well, I hope you get some sleep, my friend, and very excited. And if you are a member of the Green Chamber, or if you're not a member of the Green Chamber and want to try and do a Zoom chat, private message me here, and I'll be more than happy to schedule that for you. The Las Cruces International Mariachi Conference 30-year celebration is taking place November 8th through the 11th at the Las Cruces Convention Center. We'll have all the contact information above or below. We'll even put Robert's number on there and his email so that you can get in touch with him. And Robert, I hope to see you before then, but I know that you're going to be swamped, and it's going to be a labor of love. So I'm so glad for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll see you soon, and best of luck to you, my friend.
Thank you.